everyone, Tina Service here with Lead Titan. I am a Go High Level reseller, an agency, and I do promote the use of Go High Level, and I am an affiliate, and I do get paid for that. Also, all of this information that I am providing is my own and not of Go High Levels. I do not work for Go High Level. So in today's video, I am going to show you a couple of advanced techniques to get push notifications sent from your Made Central account. You can also do this in any other platform that you're utilizing, assuming that they have some type of notification message that goes out and they don't have push notifications. So it is a little bit of a workaround in the software, but can be achieved within about 30 minutes. Once you do it the first time, you have a better idea of how to parse the information. So in Made Central, we're going to do push notifications to our cleaners. And the reason that we're doing this is because the cleaners are going to be notified when a job gets skipped or bumped or changed. So I did a visual on this. I'm going to see if I can pull it up here. And I did another video on this. But basically, when a job gets changed inside of Made Central, it does not send a notification over to the cleaner. So it's a manual process that I want to automate. So the reason I want to automate this is because it removes mistakes. So this is a system and a process that I think is important for companies that have pretty consistent measures in place with their cleaners. Now, we do use independent contractors, so your method might be a little bit different if you're using employees. However, it can work, especially if you have consistency. And the way that we're going to communicate that information over to our cleaners is through Slack. So in any event, I'm going to jump back over here to Made Central. And the first thing you need to do is you need to figure out which template is being used for when a job gets moved or bumped. So we're going to actually do, this video is going to be on the moved job. So I'm going to go and I'm going to just put in this word move. And right here I can see confirmed we've moved your job on blank date. So we got bump and we got move. So I'm going to go and look at this template and make sure it's the right one. And I can see that it's an email that's going to get sent. So it's a static email, and I guess I'm saying static in the sense that it comes with the software. So it's not anything that you have to create. It's already there through Made Central. And the subject line is confirmed with date. And over here you can see that these are the template available fields, and then they have global fields that are available that you can use. Down here, it's going to show the client's name. It's going to say, per your request, we moved your job on blank date to this new job date. And then it says the company name. And then down here, this is for the mail parser. So you have to put this information in. So when you're parsing the information, you can parse it much easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to white this text out so my client doesn't actually see it. Not overly important, but sometimes they may get confused as to why there's additional text down there. Now, what I wish it really had was the ability, well, first, I really wish it had the ability just to do push notifications. But the second thing is I would like to have who my cleaner is over here, right? So I do have to take a couple of extra steps because the cleaner field is actually not available. And even on the global side, it's not. This is more of your company data here. So again, in the template, I see no information for cleaner, but I can grab enough information that I need to be able to do a parse and a push. So I got first name, last name, their address, the date of the original job, and then what their new job date is. And then once you have this information in here, you're going to save this template and preview it. And the way that you know that it works is that it shows up in green here. Now you can see that this text is in white, and that's perfect. So when somebody's actually getting this email, they're not going to see any of this information here. They're only going to see what's above this line, which is exactly what we want. Okay. So now that we have this working and set up, we want to go and create a mail parser mailbox so that anytime this email is sent out to the client, we actually are going to do a blind carbon copy over to mail parser. So if you don't have mail parser, you're going to go and get that set up. But I already have this set up, so I'm just going to jump over here and I'm going to jump over to this mailbox that shows you the mailbox that's receiving this data. So I have previously mentioned that we're calling this a move job. So you can see we don't do this often, but again, sometimes in the summer or in our busy season, this does definitely start getting pushed out pretty frequently. So there's 7 emails in the last 30 days. This is the email address. So I've created the email. and then I have this email address, and then over here you can see that email address is here. So I'm going to jump back over here. You're going to see that we have this email. So this is the email that came in. I want to see what the original email looked like. So once I click on that, you can see the parse data and the original email. So this is the email that came from Made Central, and it says, hey, per your request, we moved your job from this day to that day, sincerely made for time. And then down below, it gives me all of his data. So in this video, this is obviously going to be blocked out. You're not going to be able to see the client's first name, last name, and address, but believe me, it shows up. And then you can see down here that we have the actual time that is on here as well. Okay, so now what we need to do is that once that data comes in, we actually have to do a parsing, right? So to be able to do parsing, you're going to go to your original inbox. This is going to pop up when you first do it, and it's going to say, hey, congratulations, we got your first email. So you're going to go over to rules, and in rules, you're going to do, I just start with try automatic setup. This is going to take you through and say, hey, what information do you want? But you can see here that I have these rules: first name, last name, address, original date, and new job date. That's the data that I put over here on the bottom of this template, right? That is now in white that you can't see. But this is the data that I want to come over. So to be able to parse this, I do body plain text. You can do HTML, it doesn't matter. But down here, you're going to isolate his first name, this person's first name. So you have to do text match after first, which is why on this template, it's really important that you put this information here. So first name, last name, address, so that when you're pushing it through, you can actually see what data you want to isolate. If you don't have this, it's going to be much more difficult to isolate. So save yourself the steps and add this information, the first, last, address, and original to the template. All right, so now we got his first name isolated. We're going to define the end position, end of line. So now we have his first name. You just call that field first name. I'm going to go back over to the second rule, and you can see that we did the same thing for the last name. So we're going to isolate the text after last, grab his last name. I don't care about the spaces because when I pull it over, it doesn't matter. When I pull it over into Zapier and go high level. So there's his last name. And then you get the idea here. So if we continue with the rules, you're going to do the original date and the second date. And again, you're going to isolate that information after. You can do it after like the original date. I did this one after lines, but you could technically do it after the original date. And then it's going to give you the end line. So if I wanted to change this, let me just show you what it would look like. So I don't want it to be after X number of lines. I'm just going to say I want it to be after date. So the reason I did this, now I see why I did it, is otherwise I would have to put this in, right? So we're going to do text match after this, and I need it to be there. So that's the only reason I did it, is because it had date in there twice, and I didn't want it to get confused. But you certainly could do it either way. It doesn't matter. And then you can see we got the end of the line, and there's the date, and yep, it all looks, name it, original date, and save it. Okay, so now we have all of that done. Now we're going to jump over to Zapier, which is the third step in this process here. I just want to pull this back up. Hopefully you guys can see this. But anyhow, we did the data segregation, and now we're going over to the Zapier data transfer. So we're going to jump over to Zapier here, and I'm going to go connect my mail parser and my lead connector. So in here, what you do is you go find the name of the inbox that you've created, and this is called Move Job. Okay, so there's the Move Job folder. I'm going to continue. It's going to go find some new records. So we got a date on the 28th. We have this person here. I'm going to continue. I'm going to add and update the opportunity. So what I did in in Go High Level is I created let me just do a duplicate here so I can go back. I created an opportunity. Now, the trick is with the opportunities is that technically they are used for your dashboard tracking purposes. However, you can just ignore the data that comes in. You don't actually have to use it, but the opportunities is definitely meant for tracking purposes. So if you wanted, you can actually create a different pipeline here, and maybe it's just called business pipeline, and that's where you put the information. But I also like to know how many jobs got bumped or changed, right? So we have this date change here, and then you can see that these jobs got bumped. I think I may have put some information in that. Nope, I didn't put in the pipeline. So back to here. So cleaning got booked, and then we have this pipeline called date change here. So this is where we want to push it to. So I'm going to jump back over to my Zapier, and I'm going to push this over to add update opportunity, which is correct. It's going to say which account. I want it to be in Titan. First name, last name. We don't need their phone number and email. We actually don't even need the address, but you may have a person with the same first name and last name that you want to make sure that it's sending over the right way. So if you want to add notes, you can do that as well. You certainly don't need to, but we do add this so that the cleaners can get the note information. And you can see that this is in the pipeline and it's called job moved. So it's item number 12 here. Okay. We don't need to assign it to any user, but then we're just going to go ahead and hit continue. And it says that it went over, although I can see that something is not working here because it's not allowing me to do a publish. So let me just go take a peek at that. So the reason it didn't let me publish that is because I didn't make any actual changes, but let's go over to here. So obviously it's not going to push over because I didn't push it over, but I'm just going to hit refresh here. And here we go. So job move. Leo Gurovich is here. And actually I can see there's a duplicate item in here, date change. I need to get rid of that, but that might be there for another reason. I can't remember why, but I'm sure it's there for something. So in here, here's the job moved. You can see this happened on November 26th. It got updated here, and I put these contact notes on here just because it helps us, but you definitely don't have to. Okay, so now that we got that Zapier completed, we're going to go to the next step, which is we push the information into high level, and now this information gets a little tricky. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create an automation that does some Slack notifications. So I have that automation in here. It's called Move Job 2. So I must have edited this. But basically it's saying, hey, the pipeline stage changed. And it's now in this pipeline change. I'm sorry, it's now in this pipeline called Job Moved. And we added a note, right? So we want to put that information in there. We got a new job date. Okay, so here's the condition. Now we obviously have more than 4 cleaners, so you have to, this allows you to, I think, to do up to 12 different conditions here. And so what you want to do is in here, you're going to create these conditions. So build the branches out. It says if the branch, so we did it by our cleaner name, Paulina, and then the client has the tag Paulina, or if it's Erica and it has the tag Erica, then it's going to send it down these different paths, right? So it's going to say, hey, Erica, here's an internal notification to Erica's number. So this is actually a text message going out to her. It says, hey, this client just moved their job. So it's going to push over the contact notes. And if you remember over here, we push the notes into Go High Level. And then it says, please confirm and accept or decline. So why do we do this? Because they're independent contractors. So we need them to be able to accept or decline the job. And we just want to confirm that they actually received it. And then it's going to also send this information over to Slack, and it's going to ask the same thing. Can you check your schedule and confirm you see the move? So we just want them to be aware that this has happened. Also, just so you know that using a Slack notification is a premium feature, and they will charge you for it. Okay. So if you want to go through and you want to look at the stats of this, you can see all the stat information.